Today, we're raising a glass to Gonzo Whiskey, bringing its straight rye and wheated bourbon to the nation's capital.
Yes, here with us on this tasty addition to DC's whiskey scene and how it is honoring the life and legacy of legendary journalist Hunter S. Thompson is Gonzo's head of community, Erin Petry. Erin, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, I gotta say, I know Gonzo journalism, but I don't know Gonzo whiskey. So can you tell us about this?
Yeah, absolutely. So Gonzo Whiskey was created to honor the life and legacy, of Hunter S. Thompson, the father of Gonzo journalism, right? Mm-hmm. And so our founder, Dr. Matt Patel, he had this relationship with Anita Thompson, Hunter's widow, and was like, you know, we really want to do something to honor him, and what better than whiskey. I mean, he loved
Truly.
it. He's from Louisville, Kentucky. I'm from down the road in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky.
Oh, wow.
So we had that kind of, we both love whiskey and both love Kentucky. So that's what Gonzo is. It's meant to be a way for folks to kind of just sit down, have a glass of whiskey, and have a conversation with kind of no holds barred.
Love it.
Well, other than the Kentucky roots, why whiskey, and what was Hunter Thompson's relationship to whiskey?
Well, let's be honest. All right, Hunter S. Thompson did not have the healthiest relationship with substances in general. So
most writers don't.
Yeah, I know, right?
We do say drink responsibly, right? Sure. But Hunter was very fond of wild turkey. He also then drank Chivas later in his life, so the Scotch, right? And probably everything in between, except vodka. He wasn't a fan of vodka, but he did love Kentucky bourbon. So he loved bourbon, he loved whiskey in general. And what better way to honor him than whiskey?
Absolutely.
When it comes to whiskey, what makes Kentucky whiskey different than, say, for example, Tennessee whiskey or others?
So some of it's marketing, some of it's laws, right? Sure. So this one here, our Kentucky Derby, is Decadent and Depraved, which was a limited time release. It's going to be an annual release around the Derby. It's named after that article that launched Gonzo journalism, right? He was sent down to Kentucky with artist Ralph Steadman, and he created this particular article in Scanlens, and that one is our Kentucky bourbon. These two are, these are actually not quite Kentucky, but just up the river. But the thing is, Kentucky bourbon really in general is actually dictated by federal law. So it has to be 51% corn. It has to be aged in new charred oak containers, cannot contain any kind of artificial colors, additives, sweeteners, and then there's a lot of other rules around that. Tennessee whiskey is one of those things where it can only actually be made in Tennessee, but it also has to go through the Lincoln County process, which means it has to be filtered through maple charcoal. So there's a couple of different things around it, and rye whiskey is similar in the sense that it has to be, both bourbon and rye have to be made in the United States, but rye has to be at least 51% rye, whereas that bourbon has to be 51% corn. But Kentucky's that home place of bourbon, right?
Absolutely.
So,
well, all this talk about whiskey and bourbon and rye has got me thirsty. Can we try?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
So I wanted to start us out with our rye. So this is a 95% rye with 5% malted rye. It's got a pumpernickel grain in it, so it does have a little bit of a different sort of flavor profile. I really love this one. I think it's very fun.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, and so that's going to be 95 proof, so it doesn't, I know, right? Starting that day out. And then our bourbon here, if you want to give this one a try, this is a wheated bourbon, and what that means is that the flavoring grain, besides corn and besides malted barley, is going to be wheat. So it's going to drink just a little softer.
Fantastic.
But this one is going to pack a little bit of a punch because it's 103 proof.
I haven't even tried it.
I've let it air out just a little bit for you, but
it is softer though.
Yeah.
I mean,
wake you right up.
I know, for 103 proof, it's very smooth.
It is, yes.
It's very smooth. It's softer, as you said.
Now you have a personal connection to bourbon.
I do.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up down the road from the Four Roses Distillery in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, right?
I love Four Roses.
Me too, right? And so bourbon was really in the air, in the water, in my veins. Not really in my veins, right? You know, not when I was that young. But it was really part of my growing up, my personal heritage. And so I've always been attracted to the story and that intrinsic relationship between bourbon and the American story, because it is only made in America. And so I've been a bourbon journalist for over 10 years, so that's also kind of that other connection with me and Hunter. And randomly enough, I learned the other day that Hunter actually had a pet peacock at one point.
Whoa.
And so did I on my farm growing up. And so I do tastings, I write for bourbonbanter.com. I also am I'm on the national board of a group called Bourbon Women, and I also help run the DC chapter.
Wonderful.
And now I'm helping Gonzo Whiskey launch and get out there in the world.
Fantastic. Wonderful. So if people want to try Gonzo Whiskey, how can they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are available online at gonzowhiskey.com. We ship to all states but control states for right now. We are also on premise in liquor stores and some bars in Kentucky and Colorado. Kentucky being Hunter's born home and Colorado being his adopted home. And then we are going to be launching here in DC in August. And today is a particularly interesting day to be talking about this because it is Hunter's birthday.
Wow.
He would have been 88 today.
Wow.
But, you know, he'd probably not like us celebrating because he wasn't a birthday guy. He actually, his wife threw a little party for him at the Woody Creek Tavern, and he didn't like it, so he threw a smoke bomb in, and they made him write on the wall, "I will not throw smoke bombs." But drink a glass for him anyways, right?
I was going to toast him anyway.
A toast, yes.
Toast,
I know, and a toast to you, Erin. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely, thank you.
And be sure to grab your bottle of Gonzo Whiskey. The website is right there on the screen at gonzowhiskey.com.